So this is Tina King, ISC and math teacher at Redling Middle School. And Tina, I was just wondering if you could talk me through your change that you did with your PLC to focus on mathematical tasks last year.
Well, it really started off with our transition to the Common Core. And the first year, our PLC just worked on targets, like identifying our essential learning targets, and then really making sure that our instruction matched our target.
Okay.
So that was our first focus. And we started to see great things in our students, and our assessments made sense, and we started sorting our assessments into targets. So we'd have one section on the summative assessment that was just aligned to a target.
Okay.
And then our kids started to evaluate their progress. So we saw changes in our instruction and changes in our students, and that started our momentum.
Were the students monitoring their progress in those particular?
Yeah.
Wow.
So then we started adding reflection piece to the test and our formatives, and
Okay.
what target, where's the gap? What do I need to learn before the summative? And what are the things I'm really good at?
Nice.
We love to talk about what we're good at.
Definitely.
And so then what happened as teachers is we didn't want to put grades on those assessments anymore because we wanted to say, yay, you got that target, you nailed it, or we got to fix this one. There's something you don't understand about this target.
Mm-hmm.
So it started to move our practice because we don't want to put a grade on the test anymore. It doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
So as we've got this momentum going, and we're reading things about the Common Core, and we're looking for good problems, because now we're lining up with targets. So we want problems that match our targets. So we got onto this idea about great math problems. And math teachers know this. This is our bread and butter. We love those problems. So we started integrating them in all of our instruction for each unit, and then also making sure they're on all of our formative and summative assessments.
Okay.
And then the things that started happening in our class. Those were mind-blowing
So
things.
what were some of those things that were just blew you away?
Kids talking about reasoning, kids evaluating each other's work, and the language of kids agreeing and disagreeing with each other, the collaboration, the critiquing, the reasoning.
Sounds like you're bringing up a lot of the math practice standards right
Those
there.
were all the practice standards right there. And it wasn't in an artificial way, here's the poster on my wall.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're doing. This is how we do math in our class. And not only that, the kids loved doing it. So not only was it great math, but the kids were engaged. I mean, they are truly puzzled. And when they're puzzled, they're engaged. They want to solve the problem.
Okay.
And these are difficult tasks. I mean, we call them sweaty. And we just had to be comfortable sweating a little bit.
Yeah.
And there were days when we didn't solve it, and that was okay. We came back to it, and we figured it out, and our collaboration skills really improved too.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we had all this on the face value. There was a lot of face value validity to it. Our kids were engaged. We felt that they were doing just much higher level thinking.
Okay.
And when we gave the end of the year test, they were math tasks from each unit. So we had 11 tasks. That was our whole end of the year summative exam. And the reflection on that was really powerful for our PLC.
So prior to that last year, you didn't have a lot of those mathematical tasks, those
No.
meaningful tasks where the kids were really engaged in.
We did not.
Okay.
We were using assessments from our math series, My Big Ideas.
Sure.
And they were really more procedural.
Mm-hmm.
And we had students still really stumbling with any time we would give them an application problem. Even though we knew they could do the procedure,
Sure.
we'd give them the application problem and they couldn't do it. And we were beating our heads against the wall, like, what are we doing wrong? Well, we kind of had things backwards, that our fluency was going to be developed by understanding.
Okay.
And that's what we learned this year with tasks. And then what we learned at the end of the year is that our kids, not only did they engage in high level thinking and reasoning, but they remembered it at the end of the year. They remembered how to do things because they had done rich tasks, and they had engaged in reasoning and critiquing and evaluating. It wasn't a procedure that was forgotten. So they learned math and they knew what to do with it. So we were really psyched.
And you saw that live in action throughout each period, but then you also saw it on the student achievement data.
So when we got our achievement data back this summer in our PLC, we had a lot of celebrations. Our students came in with some really low predictions, the lowest in the district. 77% were supposed to meet or exceed standards, and I believe it was 84% met or exceeded standards. So
Wow.
And we topped over Haynes. Sorry.
That's very significant gains.
Well,
Wow.
we think it's complex, and it's hard to say what caused what, but we know that was the thing that we changed last year.
And prior to that, they were pretty stagnant. The scores were right around
Yeah.
77, 78%.
We saw just little growth
Mhm.
each year, but we didn't see that big
This big jump.
the big jump that we saw
Wow.
last year. And that wasn't just for me. I'm not claiming the success just for me. That was our entire PLC saw that.
And your
growth.
entire sixth grade PLC
the
did
entire
that
sixth grade at Redling.
and saw the same gains.
All students.
And you had even mentioned a new teacher,
2 new math teachers. 2 new math teachers.
and they saw the same significant gains.
Same gain as the teacher that's taught math for 20 years.
Wow.
But that was the power of our PLC. And
Yeah.
just using great math tasks and instruction that was aligned to the Common Core.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Tina.